Now, before the break, we met Valerie and Alan Kingston, who've turned their West Cork farm into a real industry. But where do they take their business from here? We'll be finding out from our panel of experts. They are Pádraig Bergin, who's the Regional Director from the Alchemy Network; Paddy Collins, who's Head of Small and Medium Business at Vodafone Ireland; Billy Moriarty, the Senior Business Manager from the Cork region of the Bank of Ireland; and the Managing Partner of Holmes O'Malley Sexton legal firm, Harry Feely. And just before we hear from all of them, let's hear what Alan and Valerie had to say about their business.
I think over the last year the difficulties obviously are the recession, and people are down trading, and there's obviously not as much money around. So obviously people are checking the prices of what they are buying. Our product is a luxury product, it's a high-end product, and people definitely think twice about paying a lot of money for quality. So it has been a big challenge. Keeping wastage to a minimum is a very big challenge for us, because the shops like to keep their shelves very full. We like to make sure that they're being emptied, and we keep it as tight as possible. But on a very short shelf life product, it is very difficult to get distribution worked out, and also to keep wastage at a minimum. So that, I think, they're two of the biggest challenges: the downturn and people not spending as much, and keeping wastage to a minimum. I think core to Glenilen Farm is the quality, and we will not compromise on quality in order to get a cheaper product.
Harry, let's begin with you. It looks like the only way for this business to really move to a new level is abroad. I mean, that's fraught with difficulty.
It is. There's going to be regulatory and health and safety issues which they're going to have to be aware of in moving into a foreign jurisdiction. So they're going to have to obviously engage with lawyers in the UK who are going to advise them in relation to those issues, because a lawyer in Ireland can't do that. What's the difference between our legal system? Is there a fundamental difference? Well, there isn't a huge fundamental difference, but every country has its own laws. Some laws come from Europe, but they are transposed nationally. Just in terms of joint ventures, that's another area they could look at. But again, is it going to cost money to put all that together? I think it's a very ideal way for a business such as Glenilen to move forward. I mean, I see that they have expended considerable money, which presumably has been borrowed from the banks. I think going forward they may wish to reduce their exposure to the banks, but they still will have a requirement for considerable capital. I think one way to do it is to look at various development funds, such as the Enterprise Ireland Development Fund or various BESs. That obviously they're going to be giving away some equity in their business by way of preference shares, but there will be a mechanism to draw it back in within a number of years. So I think putting their structures in place with their potential partners, whoever they may be, equity partners or otherwise, is going to be very important for them. I think also looking at their business model going forward to develop it further in the UK, it might be useful if they had a larger partner such as Greencore or such like, who might be able to help them expand the business through a network that they've already established. Billy, what sort of comfort would you look for if you're looking to back a business like this, Enterprise Ireland, maybe those other things? I mean, what level of comfort do you need?
Well, the first thing I'd say, I met Valerie and Alan Kingston, and their enthusiasm is infectious, and they're really driven for this business that they have, and their business model is quite good. They have significant capacity for production at the moment, so they don't need to invest in any further capital at present. So by getting into a new market like the UK, which is the likely follow-on, because the sales in Ireland will obviously decrease with a luxury product such as this, so they look to the UK. We in Bank of Ireland can support them with cash flow management through invoice discounting if necessary. It may not be necessary.
Is that not a last-ditch effort, invoice discounting?
Not at all, no.
Okay, it's
invoice discounting. It's not. People seem to think that that's factoring. Invoice discounting is not, in fact. What it is it's just another mechanism for providing early working capital.
Okay, using the debts of the invoices of the business.
The debtors, and they get so much of the debtor payment up front, rather than having to wait for it to come in maybe 2 months' time. Now, the credit terms that they'll choose with the listed supermarkets or wherever they're going to put their product through in the UK, that'll dictate a lot about how their working capital can be managed. Now, the other inherent risk that they'll have from a financial perspective is the exchange rate risk, and whether they should invoice in sterling or in euros. Now, if they adopt the euro, The problem with that is there'll probably be a reduction in the margin that they'll achieve, because whoever is paying them will factor that in, the cost of paying in euros.
Assuming that we only deal with Britain. I mean, it would on the
Well, just looking at the UK market at present now. Whereas if they deal in sterling, they can have sterling accounts and they can sell forward their sterling to, we'll say, fix a particular rate, so that they'll have certainty in relation to what their profitability is going to be.
Yeah, I was looking, Paddy, at the way they operate, and it's very much a farm environment, you know, and it's quite traditional in some ways. Do you think there's an opportunity for them to embrace a little bit more technology?
Well, I mean, they've actually have embraced the technology, and I actually think they have to be commended for their deployment of technology. I mean, if ever there was a small business that has reinvented itself, reinvented the product that it has, and reinvented a new customer base for itself, Glenilen is a prime example of that, and should be, you know, is a prime example that other small businesses should look at. One of the things that they've done very, very smartly is they've actually equipped all of their van salespeople with handheld devices, and those devices enable the salespeople out at retail stores to take orders and directly transmit them back to the production plant. The key benefit of that for Glenilen is that they can produce the right quantity of product, thereby minimising wastage, which, where they're selling a short shelf life product, it's key.
Will they be able to implement this in the UK, or do something that allows them to avail of technology so they can keep an eye on what's going on in the export scene?
Yeah, well, I think they can basically extend the model that they have, because given that they have broadband access, which was an issue in rural areas, broadband now is available to about 90% plus of the population. Having that broadband access means if they appointed a distributor in the UK, they could provide online ordering through their broadband access back to their production plant.